Hello, everybody. Welcome to this new lecture on the oil and gas facilitating business. The aim of this training is to prepare you for the oil and gas trading facilitating business. You have to be able by the end of the training to work as a oil and gas facilitator. Therefore, you need to have good mastery of the items or the players and the contract, how to read and understand a contract, how to execute it, and what are the sections in the contract that you have to pay attention on. And that is the main reason why we have settled this class today, that we will discuss on the how to read and understand a contract. When you receive a contract, which is also called SPA, Sell Purchase Agreement, every clause in the contract is as important as those who sign the contract. Okay, pay special attention to all words, paragraph, phrases, clauses, and pages of a contract. The most important items are the discount price, the commission structure, the penalties, the payment instrument, the payment method, the procedure, the required documents before payment is made. Okay, you have to pay special attention on this term: the discount price, the commission structure, the penalties, the payment instrument, the payment method, the procedure, and the required documents. A special attention must be paid to timeline from the start to the conclusion of each item specified in the procedure, because there is also a contract is also time oriented. A good contract is time oriented, so you have to pay attention to the timeline. Okay, to analyze a contract means that you should go through the contract words by words, line by line, and page by page. Read and understand, read and read again, and understand a contract before you sign it. Do not be in a rush to present a contract to your buyer or seller. Okay, as an intermediate or as a facilitator, do not be in a rush. Okay, when you receive a contract, you read it, read again and again, and if it is even possible, try to drive a bargain on the commission right from that moment. Try to drive a bargain. Once the you have more commission, more commission, and you have drove your bargain already, then you can present it to your buyer or your seller, depending on which side you are working. Okay, the sequence of signing a contract is that the seller will sign and seal first, okay, while the buyer sign and seal last. It is always the seller who sign the contract first, okay, because he's the one selling. The reverse might be the case if a seller wants to sign last. Okay, at time a seller will tell you, no, I want to sign last. But as I said, the main goal is to close a deal, so you have to be flexible. Just be careful. It will be that you insist that the seller sign and seal the contract first. It will be better if you insist on that. But if the seller completely reject your suggestion, then you go about it. Just be flexible and be careful. But in Nigerian deals, I will have to call your attention on that. Make sure that the seller sign and seal the contract first. It is very important. The seller must sign and seal first when you are dealing with Nigerian sellers, because most at time they will use it to borrow money, they will use it to make some scamming business. Okay, so be very careful on that. My own advice is that the seller should sign and seal the contract first. We are still in understanding a contract. Okay, so a contract is a binding document signed by buyer and seller or the suppliers to confirm their mutually agreement specified as outlined in the SPA. Okay, the procedure is the driving force in the contract, so pay a good attention to the procedure. We will be referring to an SPA when we are talking about a contract. As we mentioned before, a contract is also called SPA, Sale Purchase Agreement. If one party fails to sign the SPA, either the buyer or the seller, such contract is not binding and will not be effective. So if one party fails to sign the contract, it will not be effective. Make sure that each party, each page of the contract has been fully endorsed by both parties, meaning each party has to sign on each page of the contract. Okay, note that a contract or SPA must be signed and sealed by both parties to have a binding effect, and it should be signed on each page. Okay. Uh, as we have mentioned, we have three types of contract: the CIF, the FOB, and the TTT. Okay, I'm sure you do remember this. How to read and analyze a procedure. First of all, a procedure is like an engine in the car. We said it. A procedure is the backbone of the contract. Without a procedure, you cannot execute a contract, you cannot close the deal. Okay, it is the specifics in the procedure that is followed during the execution of any contract. Okay, a procedure specifies the order of business in respect with the contract. It states how and when things could be done within the specific of the contract. Okay, when a contract is drawn, it specifies what the seller and buyer will do at a given time period. The specification of the procedure come into effect as soon as the contract is signed and sealed by both parties. Time is of essence in the procedure. Okay, so a procedure must be time oriented. In a procedure, they have I mean they have to specify at what time and who is doing what. So be very careful when drafting or when analyzing a procedure. You must spend enough time to study and understand a procedure before you sign it. A procedure can only be amended by mutual agreement. Keep this in mind. And as we have said before, if you have to amend or you have to modify a procedure, you have to call on a TTM, the table talk meeting. Okay. And why do we have a procedure? A procedure is the backbone of the contract. Hmm? It's the backbone of the contract. A contract without a procedure is like a house without foundation. It is like a car without an engine. It will never move. Okay, it will never start. It will never move. There's nothing to build upon. If in case that you don't have in case you don't have a procedure, how will you deal? A procedure specifies a number of activities. As I said, the activities are specified in a sequential order. In a procedure, the activities are specified in the sequential order. You know what to do at what time, by who, what will be done first, then next this, then after that, then secondly you have then. Okay, you just have to follow it like it is like an algorithm for a computer. There are different types of procedure, different kind of procedure related to the kind of contract too. Okay, there are different kind of procedure, and each procedure is related to the kind of contract. In a TTT procedure, the team will state where the product will be discharged into the buyer's vessel and when payment will be made. In this, for instance, okay, the discharge point is usually in the international waters for the TTT. Payment is made before the buyer's vessel departs. I hope you understand. That means in the procedure is according to the type of contract. If it is a TTT, since the transactions takes place in the international waters after the Q&A is conducted, the payment should be done. This is a procedure, okay? Before the buyer's vessel departs, okay? In a CIF procedure, the point of discharge is the mutual agreed upon safe port, and a full payment for the cargo will be made only after discharge is completed at the selected port. The Q and Q quantity and quality report also is obtained. You see that both procedure are not the same. Both procedure are not the same. And also in FOB, for example, transaction payment is usually made after the cargo is discharged into the buyer's waiting vessel. So you see that in the TTT transaction, the TTT takes place in the international waters. So the procedure will specify that the payment will be done right after the buyer vessel is loaded and the Q and Q report is ascertained. Okay, in the CIF, since it is the transaction takes place at the mutually discharge point, okay, it is once the seller has shipped the product or the goods to the seller's point, to the mutually agreed point, and the Q and Q is done, that the payment will be done. It is another procedure. In a case of a FOB, once the feeder vessel is loaded and the cure and cure is conducted, then payment is done. Three different procedure according to the three different types of contract. Here we can give you a sample of the CIF procedure or even the TTT procedure. You're gonna have it in all the trainings that in the next lectures and so on. You will have to read and see the difference. You can compare and see the difference. Please feel free to interrupt me at any time and ask your question, okay? Yeah. Any question? Okay, if we don't have question for this part, I hope you have mastered it very well. You will have time to go about it, and if there's any question, feel free to ask. Okay, thank you.